What's going on, all you wild karate fans out there? Your two favorite senseis are back in the dojo tonight, Cinephellas dojo, that is. And we are here to talk about the final episodes of Cobra Kai. We've been here from the beginning when it first premiered back on YouTube, and eventually it made its way over to Netflix. And here we are 6 seasons later. The last 5 episodes, we are talking about Cobra Kai.
That's right. These two karate instructors are back for more Cobra Kai. That's right. We've been here since the very beginning. Remember talking to you about it a while back, hitting YouTube, watching it, binging it, reviewing it, back then. And here we are, fast forward all these seasons later. It is the finale, the ending of this series, and they really go out with a bang.
A bang, a literal bang, not on a yacht. Boom.
Yacht rock?
Everybody's stories coming to a close here. 6 seasons, many years over the course of a decade, really, for all these actors and all the kids growing up and taking them into the end of high school on this show. And we find out what happens with Johnny Lawrence and Daniel LaRusso, his family, Johnny's new family, having a baby this season. Lots of things had to be wrapped up in these 5 episodes. And I'm happy to say that I thought that the creators did a great job wrapping everybody's stories up. And it really does feel like the culmination of the whole series and saga of really what this show, set out to do, which was to give a couple characters their fitting endings and kind of right some wrongs, at least from the fans' eyes from the Karate Kid, original trilogy. So over these seasons, we've got to see a lot of characters return to the Karate Kid saga and the universe, come back, Chosen, and, seeing the kind of prequel stories of Kreese and Miyagi. And we've learned a lot of secrets, that they introduced in this series. And in this final season, we'll start out with Johnny. We'll say, Johnny, he's dealing with a lot here. He has a kid on the way. His girlfriend's pregnant. He still hasn't proposed or anything. And then, of course, he's got his kids, Robbie, and then his other stepkid now, I guess you'd say, Miguel. And everybody's been fighting over this past 6 seasons. A lot of stuff went on in the family. You have Robbie, who's kind of like out on his own and didn't have a great relationship with them. So there's a really interesting dynamic between all them. And, like I mentioned, there was a lot to wrap up this season. But the final season and the final episodes really felt like a fitting end for Johnny's character. He kind of came full circle. And we saw him down and out in that first episode. Heavy drinker, life in shambles, and then in the juxtaposed with that final episode to see where his character is at in life. And it was really uplifting and, very satisfying to see. He has a very special scene, probably where he acts, he gave it his all, you can say, in a scene. And it was him and Kreese, where he kind of lets loose everything that he's been built up and pretty much defined his whole existence by, which was the karate tournament back in the day and how Kreese wronged him and his life's in shambles and he can't let go of it. And he finally lets it all out. And even Kreese, finally, after all this time, after how many times he's backstabbed everybody and went behind everybody's backs, he finally has his hero arc too within the scene, like saying sorry to Johnny and kind of, making it so Johnny will have a future too after having his kid and eventually taking over his own dojo.
Yeah, there's some really great character arcs and full circle moments, especially with Johnny, obviously being the main character, the main person we're rooting for throughout the entire series. Between him and Daniel going back and forth fighting each season, that hasn't changed in 40 years, but eventually they kind of put it aside and go at it together as a team, between him and Ralph Macchio. I thought they were fantastic. Billy Zabka, Really great acting. Got better and better each season. I thought the final season, this final season, I thought he was really great. I thought he brought his A game and really believable, everything he's gone through, not holding back anymore. The next chapter of his life, being a father to a baby. Again, his other, Robbie's grown up now and his Miguel, his stepson, and they're off going to go do their own thing as adults. So, a lot is going on this season and redemption for Johnny. I thought it was really great. A lot of, villains he's coming in this final season. You really care for him, and he's been a dick for 40 plus years, but kind of comes through in the clutch in this season. I thought it was really great. Of course, Terry Silver returning, always a bad guy. A lot of callbacks, a lot of flashbacks this season to, of course, the original movies, and I
Hmm.
liked what they did with a lot of those characters while bringing it to, TV here. And a lot of cool scenes without spoiling too much, but with some skeletons was probably my favorite episode of the season. I love the way they did that, the callback to the first movie having to do with Danielson.
Yes, that scene was awesome. There's some CGI characters that make an appearance here. CGI still doesn't look great. It works though for what the scene was, kind of a dream sequence there for Daniel's son. So interesting, not didn't look great, but I was willing to forgive it and look past it. Like you mentioned, yeah, with how things ended up the last batch of episodes, there was a competitor that got killed at the Sekai Taikai. So it's the story this last 5 episodes is how they can kind of carry on the legacy of that competitor and maybe continue the Sekai Taikai. Eventually they get everybody to agree. And of course it's going to take place at All Valley, to end everything. And I like how they brought back the old color schemes and the red mats of the original and how, you had the competitors make their final matches and their final fights. I thought all the action was really awesome and well done. Like the combat felt really realistic and very cool and fun and exciting. We got to see a lot of these competitors fight along these past couple seasons, so it does get repetitive. But I really felt that the final batch of fights were exciting anyway, and it was all leading into the end, and it was kind of cool how everything was set up, and who we saw fight at the end. Not to spoil anything, but it's very well done, and I liked how the writers wrote everybody off and gave everybody their swan songs and made amends with all the characters. Daniel and Johnny finally making amends and you know finally putting their combative past to rest and working as a team and it benefiting the kids that they were teaching. That was pretty special. You hear some familiar songs from the first movie finally, some cool training sequences, seeing the old car that Daniel got from Mr. Miyagi, cruising out, him and Johnny talking. There's some really memorable stuff here in the final batch episodes. Very well done, and I had a great time with it. Some of the best of the series for sure.
Absolutely, a really great final chapter for this series. I was really impressed. I forgot this was coming out. You told me about it. Ended up binging it last Friday night. Loved it from the start. The first episode, I was hooked. Really fixed a lot of issues from past seasons. Started to drag there the past few, but it kind of went back to the basics of the first few seasons, all about the action, about kicking ass and taking names and being in Sekai Taikai after that kid was killed. Everybody was kind of done with karate at that point. It's, Daniel, Johnny kind of bringing them back into it. The kids, like we need to go back and finish this off and fighting the international team, which really set up a lot of, like you said, a lot of great fight sequences. The actual matches were awesome. There's some brutal bones breaking and a lot of punches and blood, and I thought that was really well done, really well shot. And I loved how they went back to All Valley, like you were saying, with the font, 1980s, the mats, everything. It was all callbacks going back to the original film. And I just was here for it. Had a really great time with the 5 episodes. Great ending for a lot of these characters and putting their differences aside and really growing up. A lot of them, were young kids. Miguel was so young when this started, and I was got the long hair, turning into adults and figuring out what they want to do with their lives, including the older adults like Johnny and Daniel. So that being said, I'm gonna give Cobra Kai season 6, part 3, the finale. I'm gonna give it a 4.5 out of 5 Daniel LaRusso hairpieces.
Finally, at the end of Cobra Kai, it's bittersweet. They did a great job of these final five episodes. Everybody's characters, minus a couple minor characters that we barely saw, but that's fine. I mean, we saw enough of them in the past 10 episodes before this, so the final season. But these really wrapped up the main characters' story arcs and brought it to a close in a very nostalgic and very fitting and memorable way. I'll still that final scene was great too, bringing it full circle. And we already know that this saga is going to continue. We're going to be getting another movie here coming out in a couple months. We'll see Daniel-san's character. So we'll have to see. I know they're planning a couple spinoffs from Cobra Kai. And I have you can kind of catch some hints on who it's going to be about based on what happens in the final batch episodes. A couple characters that they could follow in spinoffs. We know a couple of the competitors ended up signing some deals and they hint at them being able to fight in the future, so definitely could see more from the Cobra Kai universe. And if they're anything like these last batch of episodes, I'm all for it. Make the story right and make you care about the characters, and you got yourself a winning formula here as Cobra Kai season 6 part 3, the final episodes proved. So with that being said, I too am going to give Cobra Kai season 6 part 3, the finale, a 4.5 out of 5 Daniel-san hair pieces.
Yeah, I'd say Sam and Tori were pretty good this season too. They were always kind of fighting and they kind of put their differences aside. I thought that was cool. Dimitri and Hawk. I mean, it's a pretty decent sized cast. And yeah, I thought even all the side characters, I thought they were cool send-offs too. And I like what they did with the technology between Dimitri and Hawk. Get Robbie ready to rumble with the guy that could play Colossus in a new X-Men movie.
Yeah, no kidding. Guy's
It's like
jacked.
big Europeean guy and the guy from Mortal Kombat, the sensei that was super annoying. I
Yeah.
am your master. Like, what the fuck?
Exactly.
Anyways, want to hear from all you karate enthusiasts out there. What did you like about the finale for Cobra Kai? What didn't you like about it? What's your favorite season? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to hit subscribe. Also, check out these wild senseis on Facebook, X, and Instagram, and our website, Cinephellas.com, for the latest, greatest TV, movie news, and wax on, wax off
Sand the
reviews.
floor. Finally over, Uncle Logan. Cobra Kai. We finished it. All these years later. But have no fear. Karate Kid Legends is coming soon. We'll be back to review that one. It's been fun reviewing these. It's a trip back to our youths and watching Karate Kid as kids and being inspired by that one, and seeing them all older now and us being older. This one hit different, and the ending really nailed it and drove it home. So overall, what would you give the whole Cobra Kai series as a whole?
As a
What
whole,
do you
I
think?
would probably give it a 4. As a
I'm
whole,
thinking 4 too.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's the few seasons kind of were super repetitive, and you could tell the writers was running out of ideas.
Hmm.
But they really first two were awesome. Ending was awesome. So yeah, overall, I'd say
Yeah.
about a 4.
I'd agree with you. I'd give it a 4 too. Overall, really well done. Creators did a great job with the IP, making it just a perfect blend of cheesiness and nostalgia and awesome action. And, they really did a good job with all these kids, introducing us to them and these actors. And the kids all grew up over the seasons. And I came across pretty impressed with all of them. I think a lot of them are going to have big careers. A couple of them already do. Peyton List already has another Netflix show going on. She's big. Zolo, of course, was in the DC movie Blue Beetle. He's going to continue that role. So we're going to be seeing more from this young cast, and it'll be interesting to see where William Zabka and Daniel San go from there. Old Ralph Macchio. I know Ralph's going to show up in Karate Kid Legends, so maybe William Zabka will be in there too. Maybe they just haven't been showing that. That would be kind of interesting.
I hope so.
So
I hope he shows up. I
yeah,
don't. I'm still interested how that's going to tie into the new movie.
yeah, me too. Me too.
Yeah, they didn't really explain that. I was hoping there's a post-credit scene, but I don't think it really ties into the new movie. So that'll be super interesting where they take it.
Well, thank you guys for watching our review of the final episodes of the Cobra Kai series. It's been fun. So until the next Cinephellas TV review, I'm Uncle Henry Hill, and that's my good mate.
Sensei Logan Myers signing out until the next TV review. Cheers!